John, thanks very much for your time. The market, I suppose, is where we'll start. 2013 was obviously, we saw the market improve strongly pretty much across all sectors, and into 2014 it's been similarly quite strong. How do you see the market generally going forward?
I think, Tim, what we're seeing now is partly catch-up, because most of Australia has been in plateau or correction mode for 3 or 4 years during the GFC.
Right.
So a lot of people talking about bubbles, and my view is actually just a catch-up that we really were well overdue. So I'm not concerned about that. Having said that, certainly Sydney, I'd like to see the current growth intensity and the trajectory probably slow down a little bit, because I think that we are at risk. If we see another 15% year-on-year growth on top of the last 15%, we might be in dangerous territory. So I'd like to see sort of more of a single-digit growth, 5 to 10% this year.
Right.
Look, I think every market in Australia is acting and operating a little bit differently. I think Southeast Queensland is probably next to go. I think it's ready for a really strong surge in prices. But Australia-wide, we saw, I think RP Data told us that we've seen the first quarter since the GFC began that every single capital city has been in positive territory. So I think overall that's a good position for a country like us to be in.
Okay. You mentioned the property bubble, and there's been quite a lot of talk about that. And so you're not a fan of that, or you're not a subscriber to the property bubble?
No, well, you know, like yourself, I've been in the industry a long time. In fact, I've been in it 3 decades or more, and I look at that, and about every 7 or 8 years I hear the same theory and echoes in the hallway that property bubble, Australia, Sydney, Melbourne's 30-40% too expensive, and yet every few years we see the market going up 20, 30, 40%.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. Right now, the latest statistic I heard was that to buy in Sydney, and that's probably my area of specialty somewhat, average household income was about 4.4 times to buy the median house.
Yeah.
4 years ago it was 4.6 times. So I think a lot of it's a little, well, certainly some of it's media hype.
Yep.
The other thing we've got to remember that, you know, you and I would remember not so long ago we were paying 17-18% for mortgages. You can now fix 3-year mortgages for well under 5%. So the affordability from a borrowing perspective is very, very good. So I think if you weigh all those factors up, you know, this is a lucky country. We've got Asia on our doorstep, clearly now starting to see this as a great place to invest. So that's going to be another wave of money. We've got self-managed super funds, all looking for some peace and security and growth for their dollar. So they're coming in. There's about 500,000 of those in Australia. So I think overall there's a lot of factors saying that our market is not overvalued, and in fact it's the beginning of the next cycle, I think, around Australia right now.
Okay. You mentioned one thing there about Asia being on our doorstep, and there's been a degree of media hype recently about the influence of international investors, international purchasers generally, and particularly the Chinese investors. What impact in reality are they having on the market?
Well, again, I'll speak to Sydney primarily because that's my specialty. Sydney, in about 10 areas and suburbs, it's very strong. You know, we're seeing that they are the dominant buyers, and areas like Chatswood, Burwood, Hurstville come to mind. They're very strong areas for the Chinese. Also, new property, about 15% of the new properties sold brand new and off the plan last year in New South Wales went to Chinese buyers. So there's a couple of pockets where they're definitely strong and they're driving demand. But I think overall, there's still a very small percentage of the overall buyers. When you look at ethnicities and groups and investors and so forth, Chinese buyers are still a very small percentage. So I think, again, I'll go back to the media hype. I think that, you know, people say, you know, Chinese are buying, they're taking over Australia. So I think that there's a little bit of exaggeration in that.
Yes.
But having said that, we've set up a China desk because we realise that, you know, this is a whole new buying community and a buying generation that wants to buy in this country, and we want to facilitate that.
Thanks a lot for your time, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Thank you.